Alright, continuing my revisited reviews, we have Paranormal Activity 2. Alright. So, after the success of the first Paranormal Activity, the sequel was greenlit, and the original. Okay, so I need to come back to here. In my first revisited review, I said this was a 2007 film. Technically, yes, the film was shot and originally released to screenings in 2007. However, it was then bought by Paramount and re-edited with a different ending, because like I said, the original ending was she killed herself, but they re-edited it for a new ending so that they could try to make sequels. And make them, they did. I still don't get the success of the first one, because to me it's nothing special. And this one, well, it's a little bit better, but not by much, I guess. And how do you continue the story of Paranormal Activity with where you left off, right? Well, we make it a prequel with the little sequel at the end. This film follows Katie's younger sister, Christy, played by an older actress. Yeah, the actress who plays Christy is 2 years older than Katie. She's the younger sister, but she looks older. I can tell she looks older. They have scenes together, and she looks older, but she's supposed to be the younger one. It's like what they did with Jonathan Taylor Thomas in Home Improvement, where he was the middle child, but he was actually older than Zachary Ty Bryan, who played the older brother. So, who knows? Yeah, so we follow Christy and her family in Carlsbad, California. Carlsbad, California! Fired up, anyone? And so right away you gotta think of this. Okay, what do we have reasons for filming? Well, so the reason they have here is because a new baby is coming home, and they're filming that. And then Katie shows up, and they're filming her come in, which, I've heard criticism saying, well, why are they filming her? Well, they're in the middle of filming the baby. So, yeah. And we cut to a year later, everybody's having like a barbecue, and we're shown that this is a prequel. Because Katie comes in, and they ask where Mika is, and she's like, oh, he didn't feel like hanging out today. But then he shows up later, and it's a prequel, and someone breaks into the house and steals a necklace that Katie made for Christy. And we find out in the third one they also stole a box of tapes, because we gotta keep on retconning stuff. The third one is the big retcon, in my opinion, but this one also retcons some things. So, they decided that they were going to need to retcon something. Now the demon, later named Toby, is after baby Hunter, who's now 1 year old at this point. Right? We're having a big birthday party for him and everything. We establish characters like Christy's husband, Dan, who was the one filming things, right? And then Dan has an already started family with his daughter, Allie, whose mom passed away before, and her father remarried to Christy. And they had a baby, Hunter. And then Katie and Mika are there, and Mika likes Dan's camera. Uh-oh! And then weird things start to happen. the break-in happened, and so they put the security cameras. And then, what do we get? Footage playing with the baby. The pool cleaner coming up on to the sidewalk from the pool, then moving around, and once again, people sitting around talking about stuff, and look, more happens in this, but they really just did not know what to do with these first two films. You know, the first film was a small budget. They were just throwing stuff at the wall to see what would happen. Most of it was ad-libbed. Here, like, oh, the last one made money and we barely had to do anything. We had a little more. In this one, we had a bigger cast. We had a bigger house. More cameras, so the budget was bigger. But just... it doesn't, like... there are large points where nothing really happens. You get a thud here, a thud there. More does happen in this, like Allie getting locked out of the house. But then you have the trope of the father, Dan, not believing anything, and then you as a living thing, and they keep telling him something's going on, he doesn't believe anything. And you as a viewer are sitting there going, watch the goddamn tapes! Why are you filming this stuff? You're not going to watch the tapes. Stuff is going on. You're filming it. Watch the tapes. What's the point of recording this stuff if you're not going to watch the tapes back? It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And he's like, no, nothing's going to happen. Like, just, Dan and Christy go out for the night, and Martine, their housekeeper, senses something going on. She hears a thud, she goes crazy, she's holding the baby, she's burning sage and stuff like that, and then they come home, and Dan freaks out and fires her, and takes her to her cab the next day, and yeah, every time someone tries to tell him something, he doesn't want to listen. But if you watch the tapes, you'll know that something is going on. And then Allie has to watch the baby because they go out again. And you see this shadow over her, which I like what they do with the shadows because they did it in the first one. They do it here, and she just wakes up like can't breathe. And she hears noises. That's when she goes outside and she gets locked out. And when Kirsty and Dan come back in, like, they do this thing with the baby too, where Allie gets locked out, and then the demon lifts Hunter out of the crib, and he comes downstairs for him to just walk back up the stairs and back into his crib somehow. Okay, what was the point of that? Like, he goes down to the basement, but then he's going back in. I don't know. I mean, if you think about it, you can kind of connect it with the third one. The third one, what if Toby was locked in a box of tapes, right? And when Katie found a box of tapes, opened them, it released the demon, and then she gave it, or maybe it somehow compelled her, because she knew that Christy had the baby, so it kind of took over Katie temporarily to get to Christy, because as we know from the third one, the demon did take over Katie in the past as well. So maybe she's like a conduit for the demon, like a vessel for the demon. She's supposed to be the vessel. Like Supernatural, they have like Sam is the vessel for Lucifer, Dean is the vessel for Michael. It's their perfect vessel. What if Katie is Toby's perfect vessel? Except for he wants a human body, as we find out later. But I'm just saying. And then once this movie happens, they just say, okay, who knows? It could be the tapes. He could have been trapped in the tapes or something. Who knows? They say that Hunter is the first male born on Kirsty's side of the family in decades. You know, because Allie and Brad started to investigate, and they found out about a witch coven who she thinks that Kirsty's great-grandmother or something, Christy's great-grandmother, sold their souls to the devil, that their firstborn son, to the demons, to the demon or the devil or whatever, for wealth and power. And if you think about it, if you look through this family, right? Kirsty and Katie's dad, they married into the family, right? Dennis, he was going to marry into the family. All the males are going to marry into the family. They're not, the males aren't on that side of the family. It's all women, just like Allie says. So it makes a lot of sense. Like these men, you know, they have wealthy families. It's this house that they're in. Dan didn't buy it. It's Kirsty's money, right? And Katie's living with Mika in a very nice house as well. So, yeah, it makes sense when you think about it in retrospective. All these men, they're moving in with the women and not the other way around, you know? I'm assuming it was Dan's house, but who knows? They have a nice house. They're not short on money, I'll tell you that much. And after a while, Brad, that's Allie's boyfriend, says, nah, I don't want to come over anymore, so we don't see him anymore. He's not needed for this film anymore. We have a bunch of jump scares, and pans dropping, fire starting on a frying pan, and the most effective one was spoiled in the trailer, where Christy is sitting in the house, and then just all the cupboards, you know, burst open. I wish they wouldn't have put that in the trailer, because that thing, that works very well. Yeah, this one also starts with the whole, we would like to take the families out, blah, blah, blah. Sure. Then the first two really frame it as if this is edited together footage by the police department, but then they kind of drop that. Because then it wouldn't make any sense, because as we see at the beginning of the third one, tapes are stolen, so the cops didn't steal it, so who knows? But, you know, they could have said it was evidence found at the Ray house. Who knows? But, yeah, and then so Christy is now being taken over by the demon. And now Dan believes that something is going on, so he calls back Martin, and she tells him to do. She doesn't perform herself. She just tells him he got this, and then she pieces out. Peace out, beach. And then so they do the ritual, and they gotta move the curse on to another family member, which of course is Katie, which will lead us into the second film. The first film, I mean. And then we get Retcon City, because they find a picture in the first one. And they say, oh, I thought I lost that in a fire. But then it's referenced at the beginning of this that all the pictures are in a book. It's in, like, they have Katie there with Christy. And I thought we lost these in a fire. But in the first one, when she sees the burnt picture, she goes, no, that was lost in a fire. We lost all our pictures. But that happens after this movie, so it makes no sense. She would know they weren't lost. She would know that Christy had the photo album. It doesn't make any sense. They retcon stuff. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense. It doesn't make sense. It makes sense. It makes sense to you. It makes sense to me. It makes sense to you. I don't know. It makes sense to you. Modern horror guy. It makes sense to you, modern horror guy. Does it make sense to you? I was watching a review. And he's staring at me this entire time. It's very hard to concentrate a little bit with him just staring at me. But, this is pause. Where was I now? Yeah, the thing. So they burn the picture and it transfers the demon over to Katie. Christy is now free. I want to talk about a weird edit. Okay? So I told you about the thing with the kid going up the steps. But here, Allie comes up with the camera to see Hunter. And Christy is there and she's all, freaky. The camera cuts to downstairs. When it comes back, you hear the baby crying. Christy is gone. It's from another point of view because she put the camera down. And then Christy comes from outside of the room and walks in, and Allie freaks out. What? How? Huh? Did, what I can assume happened with logic, but is that Christy was standing there, she freaks out, baby starts to cry, or Christy attacks Allie or something and throws her out into the hallway. Allie's able to throw Christy out into the hallway, and then we cut to after that with the camera. She puts it down, and we see the view where she goes to, comfort the baby, and then Christy gets back up and shows in the door. And I don't know. Maybe she teleported. Who knows? I don't know. It's a really weird cut. But yes, the curse is passed from Christy to Katie, and we did get footage that leads into the first film, and then we see the end of the first film with Micah getting heated, if you will, at the camera, breaking the timestamp. Apparently, I don't know why that disappeared. Is that in the first one? Because I didn't notice it, but I noticed it this one. And then we cut to sometime later, the next night after Katie kills Mika. So, Katie and Mika live in, San Diego? I think. And Christy and Dan live in Carlsbad, so I don't know the distance, but I'm pretty sure she's walking around with blood on her. But then we're shown later that she can teleport, because later when she shows up, she's not, we see from a point of view she's not there, and then she's standing there, and then the camera cuts again, and when it comes back, she's standing behind Dan. She breaks his neck, and all of a sudden she goes up the stairs, but she walks up the stairs this time. He eats Christy at the camera, a la Mika, if you will, and then takes the baby, and then we get an ending card that says Katie and Hunter's whereabouts are unknown. So, yeah, more happens in this film. So there's that. But it's still not anything worth writing home to, I think. To a certain point, when things start to pick up, much like the last film, I'll admit, it happens earlier here than just in the last 20 minutes. This is the last 30 minutes or so. Once Dan realizes what's going on, and then you just get do to the end. So it works, but that's the problem with some found footage, is we can think around and do whatever we want for most of the runtime, as long as we pick it up and just go for it at the end. And that's where I have a problem with Don't Go in the Woods, or whatever it's called, where nothing happens except for marital arguments, and then at the end it's just it happens, and it's what, huh? Nothing happened to the entire film until the end. Same thing with the found footage 3D. Nothing really happens. They're filming stuff. You see little things here and there, but then at the end, everything just boom, 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 and that's what I think some of the fault for found footage is. We think we can dick around and do whatever we want for most of the runtime, and as long as we have a kick-ass climax. No, you actually have to do something constructive for most of the runtime. This was better than the first one, but not by much. So to me, so my original rating, I was an idiot, because I watched back my review for this. I said, okay, so what did I rate the first one? I don't remember. Was that a 6 or a 7? I'll give this one a 5. I gave them both 5s. I don't know. I was new at this. Give me a break. So because they're both technically 5s, they are middle of the roads. Well, the first one was I changed the first one to a not worth your time. This one is at least the middle of the road movie. I can get some enjoyment out of it, but it's not gonna be one of the ones I revisit most of the time. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna watch 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe even 7 now, because there's more going on in those films. There's exactly more going on in 7. They learned their lesson by then. But, yeah. So, middle of the road. So what are your thoughts on Paranormal Activity? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one. Marty!